Yo, 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 yo.
Okay, perfect. So, hey guys, welcome to another. So we're gonna do.
We low-key matching tonight.
I know.
Everybody. I'm gonna scoot back some.
So, for those of you guys who, I think by now everybody saw our flyer for tonight's episode. And for the whole month of May, we've been talking about millennial and Gen Z dating, both pros and cons. I would say the first 2 weeks of May have been solely geared to millennials, but tonight we getting down and dirty with Gen Zers, and more so with their culture of dating, because in some sense I feel like millennials and even generations above us feel like Gen Z has lost their mind, but when it comes to dating, but there's a lot of similarities that that Gen Z has with other generations. And so yeah, we just definitely gonna get down and dirty. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna step on some corns and some bunions. So.
Definitely.
And you get offended, hey people, you know, you can just leave. So just like the radio station.
Well, we don't want to say leave.
I ain't trying to be rude. I'm just saying we're not finna.
Yeah, we can't sugarcoat. We definitely can't sugarcoat, because I feel like that's some of the issues that has contributed to this whole culture.
Is.
If you're a millennial and you have a kid, I hope that you have grabbed hold to them, that they're watching and tuning in just as well, because it's not solely geared, or it won't solely be geared to Gen Z. But I feel like we mentioned in our previous post, like it's time for us to start holding up the mirror and reevaluating what we're doing to help contribute to some of the things that are going on within the generations under us. So, without further ado, to introduce you to this lovely lady right here.
Yes, indeed.
Kianna G is actually a blogger, and her blog is entitled The Keyword, K-I instead of K-E-W. And she's also a college student majoring in journalism. Yes, and indeed. How we know her is she's actually a member of our church. Brilliant young lady, filled with
gifted queen. You feel
yes,
me?
Absolutely.
She on her way. Look out. Look out.
Definitely. Look, I remember y'all. Look.
You did.
And we will definitely share the link to the blog that we'll actually be talking about tonight after this live session. So for all of you who haven't had the opportunity of reading it quite yet, you can definitely do so. So without further ado, we introduce you guys to Kianna G. So Kianna, if you don't mind us asking, what's your current relationship status?
Okay, so my current relationship status is I am single.
Okay.
Right now I'm just like focusing on myself because I just got out of a relationship not too long ago, so I'm just single.
Got it. So then I'll ask you, what's maybe the longest relationship that you've been in?
Okay, so it's actually just the one I just got out of.
Okay.
We were together for 2 years. And basically what happened was we just basically kind of like grew apart. So that's what happened.
Got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It makes sense.
And then did you guys meet like in school, in the neighborhood?
Yeah, it was at school. Yeah, it was at school. He was actually, I don't know if you remember, that he was my prom date. Yep. So yeah, it was him. We met at school.
Got it. Babe, you got a question?
Oh yeah. When it comes to dating, do you feel that Gen Z has it easier than the millennials?
A little bit, but not really. And I'm gonna touch on that because, for example, like sites like Tinder, and it's not the same like kind of dating app maybe for like a millennial that's going to find a mate, because Tinder really just focuses around the hookup culture.
Got it.
It's not really going there to look for a mate.
Right.
So that makes it harder because it's like nobody, like even if that is your last resort, nobody's gonna take the time to get to know you.
Right.
Yeah, true.
So for the people that are older than us, or may have no clue what hookup culture means. Can you just explain it like?
Hookup culture in so many words, it basically just means like, how can I explain? I'm trying to explain.
Just say it, girl.
Right,
Basically, hookup culture is just,
it's
casual. It's like sexual relationships. It's just casual. That's it. It's no ties behind it. That's all.
Right.
Right.
Ain't nobody looking for commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah. In your article, so the title of your article that you put out back in February was called Gen Z Fail at Dating, the 2020 experience, I think that you said.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, what elements have contributed to Gen Z failing at dating?
That was the question. I was like, that's a good question. I would definitely say media is one. And I kind of mentioned that in the blog because I feel like a lot of people of my generation, we're like, is this obsession with like YouTube couples or just social media couples? And we'd be like, oh, I want a relationship like this. I want a relationship like that. And we start to try to like imitate those relationships and try to force that person to be someone that's not really realistic. Right. Because of course on social media, people are going to appear as perfect and happy, but you don't know what's going on behind that.
Exactly. They're just showing you the pictures and what they want you to see. Right.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm not gonna say it's just Gen Z, but like you mentioned, you guys are exposed to so much more than millennials and maybe any other generation were, solely because of what's on TV. Like you said, there's access to through social media, access directly to people that you probably would normally see if there were no social media. Like we talk about this all the time. Facebook was like, well, MySpace was the first like social media thing, but even that, it was more so people just creating the backdrop, or like if you were a musician putting out your music and all of that stuff. It was nowhere near, we had no, we didn't have the same access that you guys have as far as like seeing anything and everything. Right. Like you can put up a hashtag, somebody clicks on the hashtag and follow it, and you may see some of everything that you may not have necessarily been exposed to from your parents and all of that stuff, friends and whatnot.
Most definitely.
One of our viewers said YouTube couples are a big factor. It's easy to get caught up in that type of culture.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah. And like you mentioned, you guys' generation, well, just period. Social media only shows you a snapshot of what happens in 1 single second. Like Travis and I could be arguing. We could be like, okay, let's take a selfie.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So yeah, I definitely agree. Social media plays a huge part in, maybe the failure at you all dating. Yes.
They're trying to mimic them relationships.
Oh wait, somebody else said scroll up. Let me go through the.
Who said scroll up? JK.
Scroll, yeah.
Hold on, we're gonna get to you, brother.
Oh, it says, what did you learn from your last relationship?
Something I learned from my last relationship is, I would say, to live in the moment. I felt like since we were really in like a really serious relationship for us to be so young, because I started, dating him when I was 18. And I think that's important to just live in the moment, because we try like so fast to plan out our futures with somebody that could just be there for that time span and not long term.
Right. I think that's actually a key point for any relationship, especially when you're starting out, because if you hop into a relationship, and I know we're going to talk about this a little later, but if you hop into a relationship thinking, okay, we're going to be married tomorrow, or, you know what I'm saying, we're going to have kids like 2 months from now.
Yeah, you don't got to do all that.
You haven't given yourself time to really get to know them, to really build, moments of happiness and joy with that person. You're just like, okay, let's go.
And then also too, like the more you start spending time with someone, you get to really like knowing them, like the good and the bad sides.
Yep.
And then you be like, okay, wait a minute, let's put the future on pause. Like,
right.
let me see you in my future. Is this just now? Is this later?
Absolutely.
Right. But that's how you have to go into it. A lot of people don't think like that, though.
That's
true. A lot of people ain't thinking like that, though. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Okay, I sis.
Okay.
No, real talk. Don't laugh.
Okay.
This ain't bogus. I just got a simple question. What are 3 positive takeaways that we can learn from Gen Z?
Okay, let's see. 3. Okay, I said the first one. I said the first takeaway would be we're, for the most part, we are quick to like leave unstable relationships. I think my generation is heavy on the I will leave you real quick if you're not acting right. Like, I think we're big on that. So I think that's one positive takeaway. Like, if it's just not working, we will leave for the most part.
Right.
And then the second part will have to be is that although like sometimes people get a little too personal on social media, but sometimes it can be good because we learn from each other like personal stories. And I think that kind of like help us or like be able to meet people who can relate to something like we went through. So I think that's another thing that's positive. And the last thing I would say is positive is that we're open to like dating multiple people. Like we're not stuck into like, oh, okay, we're gonna just date this or just like talk to this one person and that's it. We're open to meeting other people and being able to talk to multiple people.
Right. And I think we kind of touched on that like a few years ago, as far as we called it serial dating, where you're just, because if you think about the term dating, it's you spending time getting to know a person. Courtship is when you're like, okay, I'm focused on one individual, let's build this relationship, and hopefully, you know what I'm saying, we can go into engagement or whatever, or at least put that on the table. But I definitely agree with you. Your generation, regardless of the method, because sometimes the method can be weird as far as like, dating more than one person.
Just a little bit.
But I definitely feel like you guys' generation, to a certain extent, you're like, okay, no, let me figure out what I like, who I like. I think another thing, definitely from me looking at Gen Z, that I love is that your generation like does not consider like nationality is not a major factor. You know, and I love that because I think the generations above us, like
we was
late 30s and up, 40, it's like, no, date somebody that, you know what I'm saying, is your same skin tone. And we understand the premise behind it. You know what I'm saying? We understand that at the end of the day, there's some things that you just don't have to explain when you date somebody from your own nationality. But your generation is like,
we don't care.
No,
we just want to do what we're going to do.
We appreciate what we see, regardless of what your skin tone is, regardless of what your hair look like.
Definitely.
I was more.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually like that. Like you pointed that out because you do see a lot of more like biracial couples, and it is nice to see because it is different people and it's great people out here. So it's good to know like different type of people.
Right. Everybody ain't the same, so it's good to get to know different. You know, races, cultures. Nothing wrong with that.
Based on your previous experiences, so what age do you think is a good age to start dating? And before you answer that, the reason I brought this up is because like I know for me, my mom was like, you can't date till you turn 16. And then when I turned 16, she was like, okay, we'll try 17, okay, maybe 18. You know what I'm saying? So do you think that 16 is a good age to start dating based on your own previous experiences, or do you feel like Gen Z needs to be a little bit older than 16?
Honestly, I think 16 is a good age because that's the age my mom allowed me to date because her experience was different from mine because her father didn't let her date until she was 18. He was like,
got it.
But she was like, she wished if he gave her the opportunity at 16, she would have knew more than what she did. And I think 16 is a great age because I feel like that's the age where you start to, because you're in high school, so you kind of start to wonder about yourself a little more. And you get to this certain maturity level that you'd be like, okay, I want to really figure out like who I am and maybe trying to explore more. I mean, when you get to college, that's when you really like explore yourself. But even at 16, I was like, for example, I was going through like a hair color phase. Like I was trying to like try new things and figure myself out. So I think 16 is a good age to start dating.
Got it. For the viewers, and we're kind of giving you guys some time to drop it in the comment section below. Tell us what you guys think. So do you think 16 is an appropriate age to date? Do you feel like it should be older?
Yeah, let us know. Drop it in the comments.
And again, solely based off of age. So while you guys are dropping your comments, I know, like, I'm going based off of me. So me at 16, knowing all that I know now about dating, I feel like personally, I probably wouldn't have been ready because my maturity level was totally, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would have been focused on probably the wrong, all the wrong stuff. But 16 for some people, like, if parents feel like, okay, they're at least mature enough to know what to do, what not to do, you have the basics, you know, that may be okay. And like for you,
18.
Yep, somebody said 18. Another person says, I think 16, you're still a little immature.
Still open your eyes to a lot. I think 18 is a good age to start.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The only thing I wanted to say on that is I think 16, yeah, you are a little immature, but that opens you up to learning more because I feel like the later you wait, the more you want to try things that more experienced people have tried. Like I see that at school all the time. Some people who have like probably never dated in their life, then when they get there, they like, oh, I want to try this and this because they're hearing stories from people who have already experienced that. I feel like immaturity kind of makes you like being vulnerable, but it allows you to make those mistakes and learn from it.
Got it.
Good point.
I'm gonna go back through these. So someone else said 16 is a good age because if you don't around then, some kids will sneak and do what they want. That's true too.
That's true.
16 because you have
sneakies out there.
16 because you have a job and your own money for some. To take a girl out instead of asking your parents for date money.
Good point.
Another viewer said, as long as they are mature enough to know when they get into it, probably 16 is a good start.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a great learning experience, and it's a way to get your naive fairy tale feelings out of the way.
Pin that. Definitely
am pinning this.
You get a pin.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
That's facts.
So before we get into like our last two questions, and before we hop into the Q&A box, because we definitely have, it looks like about 6 or 7 questions from our viewers. I want to spend just a few minutes. I know you gave your view on like it being social media's fault to contribute to the failure of Gen Z dating. But I'm gonna just throw it out there. You know how I feel. Do you feel like that millennials can also fail at dating because of either A, their parents or like people older than them aren't giving them the real, B, the church, if they go to a church because of either lack of knowledge or like false precepts, or C, what you see your friends do.
Those are all good. I think all of them contribute to failing in each way, but I'm gonna hit on about the parents, especially if you come from I didn't have friends that had like protective parents. And so they were closed off with those conversations with them and like having those open discussions. And I think that's why a lot of like my generation go out clueless, or we don't like really know how to, I guess it's not a correct way to date, but we really don't know like maybe dating standards and everything, because when there's no open discussions about it, it seems like parents always try to shield you from things instead of like putting you out there and like telling you the truth.
Yeah, preparing you.
Right. Like let me know what's out here instead of shielding me from it, and I do it on my own and I blow it up even more. You could have helped me.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
And I think that's another reason, like, because I watch like a lot of documentaries like with Teen Mom and stuff.
Right.
Like when I watch like stuff like that, or documentaries, or like when people talk about like teenage pregnancy, it'd be like most of them say because like they didn't have those open relationships, or nobody gave them like the sex talk at an early age, and it's be like parents have this mindset that, oh, okay, if I talk to you about sex, then you're gonna go out and do it. No, if you talk to me about it, and then if I am probably gonna do it, maybe I could come to you first before I decide to just go out and meet.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I definitely agree. A lot of viewers was basically saying D, all of them. But yeah, I definitely agree. The older like Travis and I get, especially now being married and like at the threshold of contemplating, you know, having children, and also even like, you know, for us, we're so involved with youth, and being more so of like a big brother type sister. It's like, okay, if the parents are saying don't do it because I said so, your big brother, your big sister are supposed to like not overshadow what the parents are saying, but to help you get it in a different way.
To help you understand why they said no. It wasn't for no reason.
And I definitely agree with you. I feel like how the world sees Gen Z. Gen Z is out here wilding out. As opposed to y'all are really experiencing the same feelings that we probably all felt if we grew up with parents who tried to keep us in this bubble. At some point, whether it's, you know, when you graduate from high school and go to college, or whether it's while you're still in high school, you know, trying to sneak out, you're trying to learn things or gravitate to things that your parents shield you from. With y'all are exposed to stuff, like we said, at a way much earlier age. So it's like, okay, my friend's talking about sex, they making it seem like it's cool, you know what I'm saying? And that's the only reason I need a relationship. My mama and my daddy not telling me nothing about it. So do I just do it because that's what everybody else is saying?
Yeah, peer pressure.
Right. Yep. Definitely. Yep.
Yeah, I definitely agree about like the peer pressure. And then the second point you made, the church, and I said that as well, because you have, even in general, you have a lot of judgmental people in church, because some people can't have those relationships at home. So maybe their second home might be the church, and if they can't come there, so then it's like, okay, where do I go? So now I am on my own. And the reason why I said the church, because if you go up and talk to maybe a member, you'd be like, okay, well, I was dating, you know, so-and-so, it didn't work out. And then they bring up your past and be like, but weren't you just with this and that person? So what happened to that? Are you just like going around? Are you being like what are you doing? They kind of look at you in a negative light, like, oh, you're just being out there open, but really you're just trying to like figure yourself out.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I think that the church maybe as a whole sometimes gets a bad rap, but I feel like the church, meaning believers, anybody who, you know, has a conversation with somebody else, I think one of the things that most, even some people, fail to remember is that at one point I was young too. I had the same exact feelings that the younger generation is dealing with. So instead of saying, don't do this, you know what I'm saying, or talking down on the next generation, at least find a way to have a conversation, to have dialogue, you know what I'm saying, to say, okay, look, how you might be going about this might not be the greatest way. I did it too. I understand, you know, what you may be going through, but maybe try this instead. Yeah. And I think that when the church, believers, change that narrative, I feel like we reach so many different, not just generations, but people. If I'm not approachable and I'm trying to win souls for Christ, for example, but I'm judging your lifestyle, that's not of God. God loves all. Jesus loves all. So if I'm a representation of God and I'm saying, but God don't do me like that, then we're making a bad rap for the church. It's no different, like you said, with you guys. Like, it's our job to be a village and to help prepare and understand, like, there's certain topics that I'm like, okay, it feels uncomfortable, but somebody got to say it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Somebody's got to start it.
Yeah, we can't be selfish. We got to help them.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. I just think, like, a lot of people need, like, reality checks. And don't get me wrong, sometimes when you first approach a person, they might be a little, like, come off like, oh, no, you shouldn't do that. And then some people do take a step back and be like, wait, I handled that wrong. But it's like, you get like a 50-50. Sometimes you might run into someone who's there for support, and then sometimes you might run into someone that's just, like, completely shut you down and just makes you feel bad as a person.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right, sis.
Going back to the comments one more time. Children sometimes are afraid to speak on sex and relationships because parents may assume that they want to do it rather than they want to understand when they get out into the world. Absolutely.
I agree, brother.
Another one said the church has to do better to make genuine relationships with others to help younger generations get good advice on relationships, learning from other people's mistakes, and have support.
You get the pen, brother. You get the pen for that. You get the pen.
There we go. Or find support. Another viewer said, education doesn't always have to come with condemnation. Come on. What? Come on. That is so true. I can't speak on other nationalities. I feel like as African Americans, we do that way too much as is, and it's time for us to just break all of that stuff, like redo this foundation, because it's a whole lot of stuff that, even if it works for like the older generation, it's not gonna cut it. Gen Z, like, at all.
Right, like that was your day. This our day.
Yeah, right.
Something changed, man.
Yes, and then
6 to 8.
Then they favorite line, like for like older generation, be like, well, back in my day,
like, it's my day. It's my day now. It's not your day no more. You can't on the real, man. You can't do that, Joe.
Yes.
Oh, and then another thing I wanted to touch on when you said about friends, I definitely think friends can contribute to why a relationship failed, because when you go get that relationship advice from that one friend and be like, and they just tell you some friends give bad advice. Let's just
just keep it 100.
And you listen to them and you be like, okay, they tell you should do this, and then you go do it, and you make a fool of yourself. It's just sometimes friends should not get in the middle of a relationship, especially like if you know you got a chance of getting back with that person. Do not tell your friends, because then they start to look at that person as a bad character. That's the only thing they're going to see them as. And then, like, it depends on who you surround yourself. They're going to be like, well, you know, they did this and that. And, like, constantly keep reminding you, like, okay, I'm trying to learn that, but let me get that first.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. I definitely agree.
Okay. My next question for you is, what's something you wish someone would have told you about dating?
Let's see. I think I kind of already touched on it. I'm trying to think of another one I wish somebody would have told me. Let's see. I think I'm gonna go with always like lay out. It's okay to lay out your expectations when you're first talking to someone.
Yes.
Because I have felt at that before one time. Yes. And I was like, I guess like casually talking to someone, I didn't lay out my expectations, and then like he thought it was going one way and it wasn't, and it wasn't like. And I'm like, if I would have just did that in the beginning, all of this could have been avoided.
Yep.
So that's something I had to learn.
Absolutely.
You got to get it out there in the open.
Yeah.
From the gate.
Now, on the flip side, what's something that someone told you that you're glad or that you appreciate them telling you about dating?
I would have to say between my mom and grandma, they always told me never try to like change someone to your standards. Even it's like either that person is going to like meet your standards or they're going to be the person that you actually like see yourself like, okay, I can see myself with that person.
Yes,
but don't try to mold somebody into being the person you want them to be. Either they're going to be that person or they're not.
Yep.
And believe it or not, it's not just with y'all generation. It's the same with anybody. I think that, especially as women, we had a mindset like, oh, I'm going to get with him and I'm going to be able to change him. Nah, boo-boo. He either want to change on his own or he don't. So no matter who he comes in the, cross paths with,
you
don't got to ask a real man to change. He do it on his own.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's something I had to learn too, because I was like, one time it was this guy I went to school with, and he was kind of like a player, I guess, or whatever. And I was like trying to come in and be like, oh no, I'm different. Like I can, like, trying to basically say that I'm different, that I can change him, that he's gonna want to be like with one person. But that wasn't the case.
Right.
Like, why did I even try to change someone when it's someone went out there way back?
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Definitely
they will
agree.
Respect you.
So do you have, I think we, so going back to the last set of comments before we go to questions.
Yeah.
People need to find better friends that bring tough love, in love, telling you the truth. Bro.
Okay. My boy knowledge.
While supporting you.
Yep.
You can't change for a person. You can only change yourself.
Facts.
Only yourself is so true.
Facts.
And then there was a couple other people that while we was talking about that, they was like, it's a new day in the Lord. Facts. I don't know why people are so good at giving bad advice.
Man.
I feel like sometimes people just don't think. People just say stuff.
Yeah, that's why you have to listen to what comes out of your mouth, people. You give people advice and you say things. Just think about what you said after it comes out. And think about what you would do if someone told you the same thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, come on now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pin this comment.
Pin it?
It says, be careful which friends you let into your relationship. That is so true. Because even when you become grown, like, everybody don't need to know everything.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody needs to know your business. That's facts.
All right, sis. You ready for these questions?
Yeah, okay. I'm ready. I feel like we got some good questions tonight.
Here we go.
All right. I'm trying to go back to...
I can read them on my phone.
It's a lot of them.
It's a lot of
them. So why is it harder for younger generations to find a capable commitment in relationships?
Oh, Lord. Let me tell you. I feel like this really gets on my nerves. That's why I make that face. I feel like my generation is so heavy on we're young. You have so much to experience. You shouldn't tie yourself down. And I feel like people mix up this like miscommunication of that you can be young and still be in a relationship. For some reason, I don't know why a lot of people don't think that being at especially for me being 20, that in my 20s in a relationship, it just shouldn't go. It's so many people that tell me no, you shouldn't be dating. You should just be getting to go out there, date multiple people. And I agree that is good, but why is it that this excuse that we're young? I think that makes no sense.
Right. I feel you.
Yeah. I
feel you.
And I think that, granted, some people that are younger, and I'm not even going to say just Gen Z, some people when they're younger, like we said earlier, they feel like they're missing out on something. But I don't feel But I also don't feel like that equates to them not being capable to commit. Yeah. I just think that they're still in a learning phase of what is commitment to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Like, or trying to figure out, these are the things that I know I like, and these are the things I know I don't like. And until I'm content with wanting to settle down and being buckled down for a while with one person, I think it's better that, you know what I'm saying, I just date. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I saw the comments start going.
Yeah, they
Sis said them 20s go fast. They do.
Yeah. Even though I just got there.
Yes. One of the things I really appreciate that Travis and I did, like, we enjoyed our 20s.
We had so much fun. We had so much fun.
But we enjoyed our 20s. Man. So once we got to, like, the latter years, it was like, okay, we looked up, realized we had been dating each other for X amount of years, but we weren't focused on, okay, let's get settled down, you know what I'm saying, in this relationship. Okay, Cuz went hard. She said, psychologically, the idea of committing to anything in that sort of adolescence age range isn't uncommon or abnormal, and people don't realize adolescence lasts a lot longer than most people think the age range actually entails. I definitely agree.
And that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was an excellent one. Okay, cuz. Okay, cuz.
Everybody got that knowledge.
That knowledge tonight. You feel.
One of our other sisters said, yes, it really depends on the maturity, not the age. Because in her case, she married her husband at 19.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean everybody should.
Facts. Everybody not ready at that age. Sis was special. They was a special breed right there. Shout out to Sissy. Special breed.
That's usually the reason why graduates have stress and anxiety over commuting to schools. I think she meant committing to schools and careers, development, the psyche. Developmental psych was one of my favorite courses. Okay, so let's go to question.
Oh, that was another question. It said, what do you mean by you enjoyed yourselves in your 20s, but did you still dated? Did you date other people?
No, we wasn't dating other people. We were saying like we went like to the movies, like we went to like
had fun.
Amusement parks, like we traveled, like we had fun like that. We wasn't dating other people. No, don't get it twisted. We was together, but we was having fun activities like movies. You know,
I think what contributed to that too for us, the fact that we like I said, really enjoyed our 20s is when I said that, like, when Travis and I, we built a great friendship. So by the time we made the decision to start dating, I really didn't look at him 100% as my boyfriend. I'm like, oh, I'm kicking it with the homie. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we weren't, when I say we enjoyed it, we weren't in a rush to, you know, tie the knot. We weren't in a rush to like
we was living life. Like we was in the moment. Like in our 20s, we finna have fun. We wasn't thinking about marriage and nothing serious like that. We was together though.
Right.
That makes sense. What this is Tinder dating.
Okay, so and bro kind of segueing into our next.
Yeah, bro, stop
topic,
doing that, man.
Is Tinder dating and other app dating easier or harder? I couldn't tell you because I don't know.
I couldn't tell you, brother.
Okay. I have had a Tinder experience. It's not great, but I would say harder because it's a lot of weird like energy on Twitter. Yeah. I mean on Tinder, I'm just gonna like put that out there because like sometimes people get on Tinder just to look for like conversation, and that was more of like my reason to get on there because I was looking like the conversator. I was like fresh out of a breakup, you know, just looking for someone to like talk to. And then when this like I matched with this one person, like he instantly was just like, oh, okay, we can meet up. No, I don't know you.
Right.
And I'm like really big on like not meeting strangers right away. So I definitely think it's harder for me. Then again, I'm kind of like just a little bit like kind of picky. So I don't know.
Hey, nothing wrong with it though.
Just from like TV shows, like we used to be huge on Catfish.
Oh
yeah, just like watching it and the fact that, you know, you can still be on a dating app and talk to a person and there's still the potential that may not even be the person.
They're setting you off. Like,
it's kind of scary.
The old lady with cats. You be like, wait a minute,
yeah.
what happened?
Yeah, another viewer said it definitely depends on what you're looking for on Tinder. You trying to date or you trying to hook up?
I don't recommend going on Tinder if you're trying to date. Like I mentioned before, I feel like Tinder is huge on this is going to be this and this is going to be that. So if you're looking for, I mean, some people I have heard, like I actually know someone who came out of Tinder with a relationship. But if that's like something you're really looking for, I feel like meet somebody in person or something.
Yeah. This is a good question. What is your biggest pet peeve when dating? And this is for all three of us. Who wants to start?
Man. Oh, man. Go ahead. Who gonna kick it off?
Okay, I'll start. I would say one of my pet peeves is like not being able to like communicate when like you're angry about something. Don't come around me with an attitude and then I ask you what's wrong and you say nothing and then you constantly stay mad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that.
Yeah. I mean, I know that was me at one point. I've grown.
I'm just saying. Go ahead.
A pet peeve. I've always been huge on like cleanliness. People that know me, y'all already know I'm OCD. So like, I don't care if you have a brand new anything, but as long as it's clean, that matters to me because it tells me how you, for one, take care of yourself. If you're clean, and then, you know, is your house gonna be clean when you get one? You know what I'm saying? Like, or is it gonna be socks all over the place? So I definitely used to do the nail check. You know, can I see dirt under his nails? And if I did he just get off work and
poetic justice?
Right. Or like the shoe check. Are your shoes clean or do they look like you've been playing in mud for 20 years?
Y'all crazy. I got a lot of them.
Just one.
A pet is a pet peeve of mine. I'm gonna piggyback on what Sis said, like the communication thing. Like if you're upset and I ask you, "Are you upset?" and you say no, but you're upset. That really grinds my gears because it's like I asked you, and then you like nothing. Then I come back, you like I was mad. So I really dislike that. That's a huge. That's up there. That's at the top.
Yeah, that's the one right there.
On the real, that one touched that nerve right there. That one, I'm trying to tell you.
Another viewer said, and I definitely agree with this: smothering. I can't deal with smothering energy.
Yeah.
And then she was like, and I'm easily smothered. Like,
Or controlling too. I don't like no one who constantly like, oh, where you at? What you doing? Like, chill.
Get a life.
Right.
Find something to do.
Right, like,
read a book.
Right.
Yeah. Not what's up. Okay.
Yes, me either, bro. Assuming. I can't stand that either, brother.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because when you assume, you make a boo boo out yourself.
Somebody else said, I can't stand liars. Sometimes we say nothing on the inside to avoid arguments until we get ready to start one and make our point. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so is a social media presence important to you in dating?
It shouldn't.
And I'm assuming, bro, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming that he means like if the person is on social media, or like if you're both on social media, you know how people are with if I post a picture,
you gotta love it.
Yep, you gotta love it. You gotta comment. You gotta share it.
Yeah, man, like it's not that serious, man.
Yeah,
is social media important to you guys in dating? But I also feel like that comes with what's the word? Like how secure you are in that dating relationship. Like if I'm secure with the person that I am, or with the person that I'm with, rather, if I put up a picture, I'm not expecting him to, you know what I'm saying, comment, to like, to reshare it. If I'm secure in it now, if I got some insecurities and that's what I'm looking for.
I'm petty, yeah. Hey, sis, you know what? Kelly, I know you be on that. I already know since you ain't like it. I've been up there, I'm putting 10 pictures up. Sis, you know what?
I can't. She said I work hard on my craft. Dead.
That's different, but I feel sis.
Okay, let me go to somebody else because bro submitted like 12 questions in here. Okay. Where do you see that one at?
Right. You looking on the same?
Okay. Sorry.
Did she answer that already though?
What did you? Oh, yep, she did.
She answered it earlier. Go to another one. Hold on, guys. Okay.
What do you want for your relationship in the future? So, like the next whoever you date, what's something that you would like?
Let's see. That's a good question. That's kind of hard. I haven't really thought about that. I definitely think before like even jumping to the next relationship, I really do need to fix some things of my own. Far as
say it one more time.
Say that one more time.
Say that one more time. I have a bad habit of saying a lot of things out of anger that I probably shouldn't have, because it takes so much. Because I'm not an angry person. It takes a lot to make me mad. But once I'm mad, I'm up there. Yeah. So I think I just have to work. I have to work on that for sure. So that's just something I would just like to work on in general before like trying to move on to somebody else.
Yeah. And we actually, like, for all of the viewers who are watching that are your friends and followers that may not have seen like any of our previous episodes, we definitely talked about that, guys, like the importance of spending time with yourself, getting to learn yourself again after a relationship has ended.
Yes.
Because the last thing you want to do, and you actually mentioned this in your article, the last thing you want to do is be carrying baggage from one relationship to the next relationship, and new boo didn't do nothing to you.
Right. My dude make bad lady for nothing.
Right. Y'all need to listen to the lyrics.
Y'all need to listen to my new bag lady, and that explain everything. Straight up.
Okay, we got a couple more questions left.
Okay, cool. JK don't get no more questions.
He got one. Does GenZ really care about a person being woke or not when it comes to dating?
Stay woke.
Oh, that's a really good question. Oh wow. I guess it depends on who you are dating and their nationality. Because
good answer.
Because like if I'm dating someone who shares a different, first of all, this is just me personally, if I'm dating someone from a different racial background, you gotta have like a little knowledge about knowledge about where I'm from, and just like vice versa, I should know a little bit about you as well. So I think it just really depends on like who you are dating, basically.
True. Thanks.
I definitely agree. Comments came through with this one.
Oh yeah.
Someone said, I realized that I love myself so much that I don't want to put myself in another bad relationship ever again.
Yes, that is.
I know what I deserve.
Pin that.
That's a period.
That's a period. Exclamation point, exclamation point. And I'm glad that like you understand that, Kianna Kimberly, because so many people
don't,
even over the age of 30-something,
don't have that.
No.
They don't even think like that.
No.
So that's good that you got that. Hold on to that. Know your worth. For real.
Another viewer said, this is where that person's maturity level affects their ability to communicate effectively without being dramatic. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Don't hold it in and don't blow up. And then everybody was like, facts, yes, period.
Yep, pretty much. One more question?
here's one.
Okay.
Do you guys believe dating would go well if our generation knew how to communicate on the phone, whether
than texting?
rather than texting? I'll let you answer first, sis.
Knew how to wait on. Do you guys believe dating would go?
So do you guys believe dating would go well in our generation if they knew how to communicate on the phone instead of via text message?
Honestly, I guess that's another one. Honestly, I think it really depends on how that person communicates in person, because you can be one way over the phone and through text, but I'm all about energy. So depending on how you act in person, that's what I'll go off of. And I'm not really a talking on the phone person. I mean, I will, but I like to text. So I guess it also depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah. And I would say, like, okay, so in this generation, the average person, like you said, rarely picks up the phone and is like, hey, so maybe let's eliminate over the phone like this, but more so like FaceTime. Do you think like FaceTime communication would be better than texting? Would, as far as communication?
Okay. So I feel like if it's maybe like, I want to say it depends on the conversation. Like if I'm trying to talk to you about something serious, I'm not about to text you a whole paragraph. I'm going to want to talk to you.
Right, absolutely.
And then if I text you, I'm going to be like, okay, let's meet up in person and talk about it. Because I can't, because through texting, words get miscommunicated. I might have said something that came off as, this is just how I feel, and then now you think I'm complaining or you think I'm nagging, but really I'm telling you how I feel.
Right.
Yes. I definitely agree. Like we always say, text, like you can't read somebody's emotions via text message.
Yeah.
Somebody could accidentally have their whole their caps on, and you receive it, and now you think they hollering and yelling at you. But if I were dating now, I think I would take it in phases. Like if it's somebody that you haven't necessarily established a deep relationship with like that, meaning like friendship, then maybe I would start through texting or like, depending on how you met them, if it was via social media, starting on that platform. Then when I feel comfortable, okay, here go my phone number, text me or FaceTime me. But like somebody else mentioned, and I just pinned it, for one, sexting is a form of lust, and that's why some younger relationships, there's a more button. Oh, why can't I see it? But I think she said some relationships, let me unpin it, fall off because they were in it for lust from the jump. Yep. And I feel like even through text messaging, like, because there's so much access, you got, even if you don't send like the hoo-ha pics, they may. Even if you get on FaceTime, not even trying to go there with somebody, they may be like, oh, let me show you. So I feel like with this, in this day and age, you just got to be careful, period. You know, around when it comes to forms of communication. I definitely feel like to a certain extent, and I'm not going to speak for all of Gen Zers, but there's a lot of Gen Zers who lack communication in general. And it's because of the day and age we live in with all this technology. So I feel like when it comes to like dating, if you normally text your homies, text your family members, understand that the person you may be getting into a relationship with or talking to may not want that. So you may have to switch something up and learn a new skill, so to speak. Learn how to use a phone, learn how to use FaceTime.
Real talk.
To be able to talk to and get to know a person instead of like texting. This all we do. Then when we meet face to face, it's like,
that's awkward.
Right.
And that happens a lot. You have a lot of people that have to force conversations in person because they don't know how to communicate in person.
Right. Yep. Facts.
Absolutely.
We got one more question.
I'm gonna go back through the comments. It says, cause it's silly. It says text can be misconstructed. Dating needs to be face to face. I need to see your expressions. Another viewer says, my text be top notch, but if phone calls is a thing for you, we might not work. I don't be wanting to talk to people for real. Y'all excuse my cousin.
Hey, she keep it 100, cuz I already know, cuz.
Daddy said, I totally agree.
Cuz keep it 100 though, that's cuz. We know cuz. Come on now.
Yeah, I think that's all because that's
I think that's all the questions.
Yep.
That is.
So if you guys do have a final question, you can definitely, I know you serious, cuz you can definitely drop it in the comments below. As mentioned, we will provide you guys with the link to the article that Kianna wrote pertaining to Gen Z and their failure of dating. But that's not the only blog that she has, y'all. She posts stuff for the most part on a weekly basis.
Yes, indeed.
And she's definitely great at writing, so support our young Black beauty. Yes.
Our young queen. She's doing her thing. We coming. We out here in these streets. We got education in these streets. We smart out here. Straight up.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any other comments or questions. Okay. So we love you, Key.
Hey, thanks.
I love y'all too. It was good seeing y'all.
You too.
Yeah, no doubt.
And we're so glad we were able to get you on here.
Yes, indeed. Love
you. This was actually really fun. It was great to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely needed.
So definitely needed. That's why we had you on. We appreciate you. You already know.
For all of y'all out there that are parents, 2 Gen Zers, I hope that y'all share this. I hope that y'all pin this somewhere. Definitely come back to our page, go to our YouTube channel, because so many people need to hear this in helping to make this generation a great generation to be able to feel ready to move on to the next phase of life. So whether that's dating or even engagement or even marriage, we as their village have to make sure that they're held accountable.
Yes,
and Key, you got all the love coming through.
Hold on, let me check. Wait, somebody said keep the receipt so you can have that is true, because some people like to act up and be trying to
absolutely
keep the receipts.
Great. Oh, thank you. And let me see. I love you too, Kianna 1.0.
No doubt.
We love y'all. We hope all of y'all have a great night.
Have a great week.
See you guys soon.
Yes, indeed. We love y'all. Y'all. Love you. Love.